May it please the court, my lady, before the witness is sworn in, may I be granted an opportunity to bring an application?
Yes.
My lady, this is an application for a postponement in this matter, not today, but later in the week, my lady. My lady, we have now run with this matter way over the time that we set aside for this matter.
Yes.
We've had a discussion before we started, my lady, with the Judge President to make ourselves available for the completion of this matter. We've done so, my lady, but there comes a time, and that's now it, where the diaries just get too clogged up, my lady, and that there are certain preferential matters that need our attention and need our attention in the next week or so. My lady, if I just may mention that my colleague has a matter that she has to deal with, where there are accused people in the apartheid matter in custody, having been in custody for a few years, and that matter should get preferential treatment. My lady, we all understand, and I'm bringing this application, although I'm bringing it with support of the defence, I think. My lady, we all understand, all of us, that matter should start and run and get finalised in the quickest possible time. We have all tried our best, and if I may say so, I think we have used court time to the maximum in the time that we've been involved in this matter. My ladies, I cannot say it's only that, my lady. It's also perhaps an issue of personal arrangement being made by myself and my colleagues, my lady, with the long weekends coming up. That is also an issue, my lady, that we have to mention, that it's not only the fact that we have matters, but that is a fact, that we have matters to deal with, but there's also certain personal things that we have arranged, that's been arranged long before this trial started, my lady, and that we would like to deal with. So, having said all that, my lady, we kindly request that later in the week, we will today, my lady, finalise the cross-examination of the accused, and that whenever there's an opportune moment later in the week, that we postpone the matter and that we return on the 5th of May, my lady, that's my application, on the 5th of May to run with this matter until finalisation.
What day of the week is the 5th of May?
It's a Monday, my lady.
Is it a Monday?
It's in the week that there will be elections in that week on the 7th.
So it would be 2 weeks. 2 weeks, a postponement for 2 weeks.
Indeed, my lady.
Yes.
It sounds like 2 weeks, but if one really goes through the diary and one identifies the working days in the week, my lady, it's no more than 7. I haven't counted this morning, but I remember having counted it. Although it's a 2-week postponement, my lady, on court days that we may miss, it's maximum 7 days.
Yes. Thank you.
That's my application.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Roux?
My lady, at the inception of the trial, we were informed about prior engagements with requiring or necessitating preferential treatment, and we then arranged our affairs accordingly, at the time accepting, maybe incorrectly so, without your blessing, that would be the situation. So we have full understanding and support for the application. A question that may be put to us about the expected or the anticipated duration of the defence case, my lady.
That was going to be my question.
I anticipated that, my lady. If I can do something to stop Mr. Nell in cross-examination, not to be that long, of course, that's a lighter note. It would be more accurate, but just on an analysis, what we believe that the time would suffice between the 5th and the 16th.
You're talking May?
May, my lady. Should of course you grant the application. On what we worked out, we also from our side, we have witnesses ready on standby to use up for the rest of this week, all the available court time.
When you say 15, 16, you're talking of evidence being wrapped up?
Yes, my lady, that's what we believe. I can't control the cross-examination. I can only anticipate how long it should take per witness. And on that analysis, we believe that will be the case. Of course, not argument stage, but we believe that would necessitate its own postponement to do written heads of argument and so forth.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, my lady.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nell, anything else?
As good, please, my lady.
Anything else?
No, I've nothing to add, my lady.
Okay, thank you. I want to think about this. Tomorrow morning I'll be able to give you my answer.
As the court pleases.
As the court pleases.
Thank you.
We're ready to proceed.
Mr. Pistorius, you ready?
I am, my lady.
You still under oath?
Thank you, my lady.
Yes, Mr. Nell.
As good, pleases, my lady. Mr. Pistorius, there are two things that I just want to go back to before we proceed from where we ended yesterday. And that is, on your version, Mr. Pistorius, the deceased must have opened the bathroom window.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, on your version, would she have done that before or after she's been to the toilet?
Before, my lady.
Now, so she, on your version, she opened the door before she went to the door.
No, my lady.
After, let's say again, I'll perhaps miss. When did she open the window?
She opened the window before she went to the toilet, my
That's
lady.
it. And I'm not going to go step by step. Just in summary, you heard the noise, you armed yourself, you walked, and in the passage you screamed. That's just a summary.
That's correct, my lady.
So, Mr. Pistorius, on your version, she must have had time to void her bladder.
That's correct, my lady.
And get dressed.
I don't follow the question, my lady.
She's dressed when you shot her.
She was dressed when she went to the bathroom, my lady. When she fell asleep, she was dressed.
But then she voided her bladder and dressed herself.
And she was wearing basketball shorts, my lady, so she should have had to have pulled them up. That's correct.
So, on your version, and that is before she shut the door. Am I right?
Yes, that sounds correct, my
Yes.
lady.
So, she would have gone to the bathroom, opened the window, she would have gone into the cubicle, toilet cubicle, voided her bladder in the time before she shut the door.
That's correct, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, on my understanding, there would not have been enough time for her to do that.
I disagree, my lady.
Okay, that's fine. The one other aspect, Mr. Pistorius, is the noise within the toilet, and I'm not going to rehash it. There's one aspect that I want to deal with, and that is how you described it in the bail application. Can you still remember how you described it in the bail application?
No, my lady.
May I just bend down to get something from my bag? In your bail application, you said, my lady, it's page 65 of the Exhibit D, the bail application. line 9. It's unfortunately not in Exhibit D. It's somewhere. We'll get somebody to assist you. From line 8, I realized that the intruder or intruders was or were in the toilet because the toilet door was closed and I did not see anyone in the bathroom. I heard movement inside the toilet. Now, what did...
I'm sorry, my lady, I'm not sure where we're reading from.
Page 65?
Yes, I see that, my lady. In which line?
If you go to line 8.
Thank you very much.
Shall I read it again?
Yes, please, my lady.
I realized that the intruder or intruders was or were in the toilet because the toilet door was closed and I did not see anyone in the bathroom. I heard movement inside the toilet.
That's correct, my lady.
There's nothing about wood. What's that movement that you referred to in the bail application?
As I said yesterday, my lady, I heard movements of wood. It sounded like the magazine rack was moving.
Yeah, that's what you said yesterday, but in the bail application, there's nothing about that. Bail application, my inference is that you heard people move.
I don't have the bail application in front of me, my lady.
You do? That's what I'm reading.
My lady, this is not my bail. This is the defence and the court's transcript. My lady.
You can take it from me, sir. Perhaps you
you
just
got
confused.
the correct page.
I do, my lady. I've got page
65.
65. That's correct,
Yes.
my lady.
Now, the court transcript is where Mr. Roo read your statement into the record. So that is what Mr. Roo read into the record.
I understand that, my lady.
So there's nothing about wood movement, am I right?
No, my lady, there's nothing about wood movement.
Now, my inference, I'll just tell you what my inference is if I read this, that movement refers to the intruders. If I read this.
I understand that, my lady.
Your voice is extremely low
I
this
beg your
morning.
pardon. I understand Mr. Null's inference, my lady. That was never the... When I said, I heard movement, before this question came up today, we discussed this movement yesterday. I said yesterday there was a sound of wood moving. So that would be this movement that we spoke about in the bail, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, I have to just ask you one or two questions about this. If I read the sentence, it's movement. Movement refers, in this context, to people moving. There's nothing about wood moving.
There's nothing about people moving, my lady.
But it follows on the sentence about the intruders being in the toilet. I heard movement.
That's correct, my
And
lady.
then you carry on. Where the toilet is, I felt, and then a bit further on, you felt vulnerable, line 20. I felt trapped as my bedroom door was locked and I had limited mobility on my stumps. I fired shots at the toilet door.
That's correct, my lady.
But one thing we have is there's no indication that you heard the door open.
That's true, my lady.
There's no indication that you thought that they were opening the door in your bail application.
That's true, my lady.
There's no indication in your bail application that the movement or sound you heard referred to the door.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, why would you use the word movement and not a noise? I heard a noise in the bathroom if it was wood.
So I interpreted it to be a movement, my lady.
No, but how can you interpret it to be a movement? Wasn't it the noise you heard?
No, my lady. It was a movement.
What was the movement?
It was the sound of, I think, the magazine rack moving inside of the toilet, my lady.
See, you say it's a sound. The movement is a sound. You describe it as a sound.
That's correct, my
I'm
lady.
putting it to you so that it's again tailoring. Movement there clearly indicates something different. to what you testified?
I think movement is more specific than just a noise, my lady. If I said I heard a noise, it would be open to interpretation. Was it a voice? Was it movement?
Then,
What I said there is I heard a movement inside the toilet.
so at the bail application, when you said movement, you referred to the magazine rack moving.
What I think might have been the magazine rack moving, my
Well,
lady.
then, sir, unfortunately, this now opens it up for me to say, why would you fire if the magazine rack moved? Because there's nothing to do with the door.
I didn't have time to interpret it, my lady. I thought it was the door opening. In retrospect, it could have been the only thing that I heard in the bathroom. It was the only loose object in the bathroom, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, no. You said now. I heard the magazine rack moving. I then said, why would you fire? Answer that question. Why would you fire if the magazine rack moved?
Because I thought it was the door opening, my lady.
No, how could you said you thought it was a magazine rack.
I think it was the magazine rack. In retrospect, it could have only been the magazine rack because the door didn't open, my lady.
You see, Mr. Pistorius, we've been through this about retrospect, reconstruction. I just asked you a plain question. I just said, at your bail application, you thought you heard the magazine rack move, and you said yes.
At my bail application, I said I heard a movement from inside the toilet, my lady.
I'm talking about something totally different, Mr. Pistorius. I'm just testing you on what happened now, a couple of questions ago.
I'm sorry, my lady. I'm getting confused.
Why will you be getting confused?
My lady, what I heard, if I can think of now, the door didn't open, so it couldn't have been the door opening.
You see, that's your problem, Mr. Pistorius, and I've dealt with it. You are thinking of a version constantly, and you're not dealing with a question. You're constantly thinking of a version. Is that so?
That's not true, my lady.
You just argued, said the door never opened, and so you're constantly thinking of a version.
That's not true, my lady.
But, Mr. Pistorius, I put it to you now that this is just one further contradiction in your evidence.
I don't believe so, my lady. If I said there that I heard a movement, that's exactly to what I testified yesterday, my lady.
We passed the movement, we're at the magazine rack.
The movement was the magazine rack, my lady.
Are you giving that now as a fact?
It's the only inference that I can make from the noise that I heard. That sounded like the door opening, my lady.
So it's an inference that the magazine rack moved.
That's what I said, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, I will deal with that in argument. And I unfortunately have to put to you that it's getting more and more improbable, and you're tailoring more and more of your evidence as we go on. Do you want to comment on that?
No, my lady.
Good. Then there's just one other thing. You see, we dealt with it with the jeans, and you said something that the jeans were inside out.
That's correct, my lady.
No.
From what I saw in the photo, the jeans were inside out.
Now that makes even less sense for somebody as neat as Reva, that she would leave her jeans inside out, whilst all the other stuff are packed into an overnight bag. So two things. Why would she leave her jeans, and why would it be inside out? Why would she leave it like that and not turn it in?
I'm not sure, my lady.
Isn't it, Mr. Pistorius, that it indicates the fact that she had to take it off quickly and did not have time?
My lady, when I got home, Reva was already in her pajamas. She just arrived minutes before me from the gate. So there were a couple of minutes that she probably would have been in a hurry to get changed and go downstairs. I don't know why she left her jeans inside out.
I'm putting it here because of what happened in that room, because of your argument. She wanted to leave. There's an argument. She had to get undressed quickly. Undress herself, jeans, quickly. That's the only reason why that would be in that state.
I don't understand how that could make sense, my lady, why she would take her jeans off and then put my clothing on to leave my house.
Because of the argument, sir.
I don't
She
know.
wanted to leave and you were threatening her.
Well, if she wanted to leave, I guess she would have left in her own clothes if there was this hypothetical argument. I don't understand the question that's been put
No,
to
it's
me.
fine. We'll argue it. I understand you. Let us then carry on, Mr. Pistorius. And we now at the point where you're on the bed, the gun is next to you, you're putting on your prosthesis. That's where we ended yesterday.
That's correct, my lady.
Okay, now please tell the court what happened then.
I then ran back to the bathroom, my lady, and I tried to run into the door with my shoulder, and nothing happened. I grabbed the handle and I tried to shoulder charge the door. Nothing happened. So I leant back, I stood away from the door, and I kicked the door, my lady.
You did all this knowing that the door opens from the inside out.
That's correct, my lady.
Yes.
I couldn't kick the door from the inside, so I had to kick it from where I was because the door was locked, my
Yeah,
lady.
no, that's true. Good observation. What then?
I then ran to get the cricket bat, my lady, as I realised I wasn't going to be able to gain access to the toilet.
Yes, and then?
And then I got the cricket bat and I ran back to the toilet, my lady. And I tried to strike the door. I remember the first time I hit the door, I was screaming. And I hit the frame of the door because I remember the shock in my hands from hitting the frame. So I hit a little bit to the left. I didn't want to hit the door in the middle or on the left because I thought if Reva's inside there, I wouldn't want the plank to hit her. So I hit the plank, I hit the door, and then the door broke, my lady.
Let us just deal with that. You said you screamed the first time you hit.
I was screaming the entire time, my lady, but I did scream whilst I was hitting the door.
No. Okay, the entire time. Let us deal with the entire time. You put on your prosthesis. You go back to the bathroom. Were you screaming?
I was crying out for the Lord to help me, and I was screaming out for Reva, my lady.
So you were screaming out loud.
That's correct, my lady.
And that continued into the bathroom.
That's correct, my lady.
And you have the bat in your hands. And whilst you're hitting the door, you were screaming.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, what happened to the gun?
I placed the gun on the carpet, my lady,
When?
as I ran into the bathroom with the cricket bat.
So, you ran into the door with your shoulder. You shoulder charged the door with the cocked gun in your hand.
That's correct, my lady.
You pulled the door from the handle with the gun in your hand.
My lady, if you look at the way the door is positioned, and because of my injury on my right shoulder, I had the door at the handle and I was shoulder charging it with my left hand. The pistol was still in my right hand. And I couldn't open the door. I leant back and I kicked the door.
I just want to understand it. So what you're now saying is that you held the door by its handle with your left hand,
That's correct, my lady.
gun in your right hand,
That's correct, my lady.
and you would then hit the door with your left shoulder.
Yes, my lady, I charged the door with my left shoulders.
And you did it purposely because your right shoulder was injured.
No, my lady, the door handle is on the left, so if I took the door with my right hand, I would be in the shower if I tried to charge with my right shoulder. So I used it for leverage to pull myself into the door.
That's leverage, but at that particular point, it had nothing to do with balance because you had balance.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, when you also said that you pulled the door to try and pull it open,
That's correct, my lady.
and that's also with the gun in your right hand.
That's correct, my lady.
Why would you do that? If you now want to do anything possible to open that door, why would you still run around with a gun in your hand?
I don't know, my lady.
It's not because it's not true.
That's not true, my lady.
Then you also kicked the door whilst you had the gun in your hand.
That's correct, my lady.
What happened then? You said you went out to fetch a bat.
That's correct, my lady.
Tell us what happened. You got the bat?
And I ran back to the bathroom.
Screaming.
That's correct, my lady. I was screaming.
But before that, when you were in the bathroom trying to shoulder charge the door, you were screaming.
I was crying out, my lady, and I was screaming. I was screaming, Reva, Reva. And I was crying out. The more desperate I got that I couldn't get into the toilet, I was crying out. And then I ran to get the cricket bat. And then I ran back to the toilet.
All this time screaming.
Crying,
As hard as you
crying and screaming, my lady.
You see, let us...
Not as hard as I could all the time. I was screaming and I was overcome with terror and despair. So at times I was screaming loud, at times I was crying out.
Now, you weren't screaming at Reva because she was hiding in a toilet, were you?
No, my lady.
You weren't screaming Reva, Reva because she's hiding in a toilet.
No, my lady.
Now, unfortunately, you have the bat and you hit the door how many times?
It's about 3 times, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, on request of your counsel, there was a demonstration. Are you willing to do another demonstration?
I would be willing to do whatever the court needs me to do, my lady.
Lady, may I ask the witness, the accused, to do another demonstration at the door?
Yes.
But this time, before you get up, this time I'm going to ask Colonel Vermeulen, the witness that testified about this, to hold the bat in the position that it hit the door. And I would then want you just to see if you can hold the bat and what your position would be.
I understand, my
There will
lady.
be 2 instances. We only deal with 2. The 2 marks that was identified by Colonel Vermeulen, my lady. And in both instances, I would want you just to wait until Colonel Vermeulen has the bat in position. Is that fine with you?
That's fine with me, my lady.
May I proceed on that basis, my lady?
Yes.
We have to keep it in the exact position. So, Mr. Pistorius, just allow the Colonel to put it in the position that he testified about, and that's it. Would you have? Okay. So, you standing. I would like to put this on record, and I'll try my utmost to do. You facing the door. Your back foot's about 1 meter from the door. Front foot is 30 centimeters from the door. Left shoulder. Would you just make a swinging movement from there? So that is how you. The second one. No, the second shot where the captain will go. You're very close to the door and you're standing on the left side of the door. Am I right? Well, that is what I put on record, my lady.
Yes.
You've now moved back. You've now moved back more to your right, and you're standing back, where you now make a swinging movement. Now, I know you're aiming for the specific mark, but my argument would still be standing where you are, standing in that specific position, you would hit it higher.
My lady, that's argument's not what he sees. It's not. You must put on record what we see there.
No.
In fact, I was going to ask you to confirm or to
Thank you, my lady.
add whatever. You wouldn't like to do that? Would you not like to confirm what we've seen?
Yeah, my lady, I confirm what I saw, but it was at the mark. What I objected against to say my argument would still be that it should be higher or must be higher, because it was not.
In both instances, you were standing to the left of the door. You looked at the mark and hit the mark in both instances. I have to put that on record. I'm just saying that you would have hit it higher.
I would have hit it harder, and there was a mark that was higher, my lady, and I am wearing my prosthetic legs, and the position's very comfortable.
Let us just carry on. So, when you did that, what happened? You hit the door and then?
A small piece of wood broke off.
Yes, and then?
I peered into the toilet and I saw Reva, my lady.
And then? If you say a small piece broke off, what do you refer to the door? Tell us what. May the accused just get up.
Yes.
I beg your pardon.
The panel, the right hand panel as you look at the door, broke off. And then? And then?
And then I grabbed the larger panel. Once I'd seen Reva with my hands, my lady, and I ripped the panel out into the bathroom.
Yes, and then?
And then I tried to climb into the toilet, and whilst leaning over the middle partition of the door, I saw the key on the floor. So after when the small piece broke out, I'd looked inside to see if I could see Reva. When I saw her, I tried to unlock the door, but there was no key. So I ripped off the bigger panel so I could climb in. And then I saw the key on the floor. I picked the key up and I unlocked the door and I flung it open, my lady.
But now it's important for you to explain the position she was in when you saw it.
She was... She was sitting on the floor to the right of the toilet, my lady. She was seated on her right buttocks with her right arm on top of the toilet bowl. And her head was on her shoulder.
Let us just look at a photograph so that we get the position. That's photograph 123, album 1. Now, you're saying she's sitting with her back against the wall.
Where the magazine rack is in this photo, my lady.
So her back is against the magazine rack, her head is on the toilet bowl.
Her magazine was not, the magazine rack was not there, my lady.
Is the magazine rack not there?
No, my lady.
You know that for a fact?
Yes, my lady, that's where Reva was, my lady. Her head was where there's a lot of blood on the toilet bowl, on the seats, and her legs were over here, my lady, and she was in this position.
Yeah. So, but her head was there where the blood is on the toilet seat.
That's correct, my lady.
And her right hand was lowered down towards the floor, her right arm.
That's not what I said.
What
my
did
lady.
you say?
I said she had her right arm on the toilet bowl and her head was on the right shoulder.
And you say that you remember that the magazine rack was not there.
That's where Reva was, my lady.
Where was the magazine rack?
It was to the far right against the two walls, my lady.
The court allows. Okay, let us just open at 119. It is it's the album in front of you there, E119. There it is. Okay, it's there already. So on that photograph, you can see the magazine rack, and that would be more to the right.
When I found Reva, the magazine rack was against the wall on the right, my lady.
Now, there is the panel in the way there, so you know where the panel was.
No, my lady, I don't remember where the panel was.
But the magazine rack was to the right of the panel.
That's correct, my lady.
Just assist me.
That's a good bit.
Where is left and where is right?
As we look at the photograph, Malay.
As we look at the photograph.
As we look at the photograph.
Thank you.
Is that how you understood it, Mr. Pistorius?
That's correct, my lady.
Now, then when you found her there, what happened?
I sat over her, I crouched down over her, my lady, and I put my arm underneath her, my left arm underneath her right arm, and I checked to see if she was breathing or if she had a pulse. And then I didn't feel that she did, so I just sat, I pulled her onto me. I was more to the, if you look at the toilet bowl on the left side, I pulled her around onto me.
Yes, and then?
And then I heard her breathing, my lady, and so I immediately tried to pick her up and get her out of the toilet.
Yes, and then?
I wasn't able to pick her up, my lady, so I scuffled around with my legs, where's probably how I kicked the magazine rack. You can see where I was seated in the toilet and I had Reva's weight on top of me against the left hand part of the door frame. And then when I managed to turn her around, I placed her down on the ground, and then I tried to get her into the bathroom.
I just have to ask you, sir, the fact that you kicked the magazine rack, is that a memory or that a reconstruction? Is that what you think?
That's what I think, my lady. I said I must have.
Okay. You don't have an independent recollection having kicked the magazine rack?
No, my lady.
That spot. But it wasn't there when you picked it up?
No, my lady.
Yes, what happened then?
I placed her halfway between the toilet and the bathroom in the frame, and I tried to pick her up, but I couldn't pick her up. I then moved her into the bathroom. I grabbed her phone, which I saw on the floor in the toilet, and tried to...
Where was it? Where was her phone?
Her phone was where this plank is, my lady.
You at photograph, what do you have it open?
I beg your pardon, photo 119, my lady.
At 119, her phone was on the floor where the plank is, the big panel.
That's correct, my lady.
And you picked the phone up.
That's correct, my
Is
lady.
there anything wrong with the phone?
Not that I can remember, my lady. I just couldn't access it because I didn't know it had a passcode on it, and I didn't know the code, my lady.
Was it on?
Yes, it was on, my lady.
And what did you do then with the phone?
I just dropped it and I ran to my room to get my phones.
You dropped the phone.
That's correct, my lady. Well, I put it down. I dropped it. I put it down or dropped it. I don't remember.
What happened then?
I then ran to the left-hand side of my bed where my cell phones were. I grabbed them and I ran back to be with Reva, whereby I phoned Johan Stander to come and help me pick her up.
But let us just deal with it. The fact that you phoned Johan Stander, you had to look up his number and dial him from your phone book.
That's correct, my lady.
If you look at photograph 103, with the keeping in mind your version that scenes were tampered with and or changed, is there anything wrong with that photograph? But that should not be where it is at the moment.
My lady, with reference to the scene being tampered with, it's that the police's own photos contradict each other, my lady. So I can't say this photo was the right photo or it wasn't the right photo.
As you remember the scene?
I don't remember placing the gun down. I don't remember throwing the cricket bat. I don't remember.
So you don't
putting the
have
phone.
an independent recollection of what you did with the gun, where you put it down?
No, my lady.
Neither do you have what you did with the bat.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, her phone is on that photograph.
That's correct, my lady.
Is that possible that you put it there?
It is possible, my lady.
Is it possible that it could have been in that, if you just turn the page to 104, that the cover came off?
I believe there's another photo, my lady, where the cover's on the phone in the same position, but it could have been that I dropped the phone and the cover came off.
So it's possible that that happened.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, your white phone, your other phone, is it possible that it was found under the towels that one could see in photograph 103?
I don't remember placing the phone anywhere, my lady, so it is possible.
Okay. Then I just want to, I'll step away from this. You don't have specific recollection of anything that the police tampered with there, except reference to photographs tampered in the bathroom with. Am I right? Do you?
My lady, all my references with the photographs, there was a lot of tampering that I could see, but with reference to what I remembered from that morning to the photos, I wouldn't be able to say what I remembered and what I don't remember, my lady.
Good. Then you carried. What happened then?
I then phoned Mr. Stander. I then phoned 02911. I asked the operator what to do, and he said that I should take Reva to the closest hospital, that I shouldn't wait for an ambulance.
But you weren't screaming at this stage.
No, my lady, I was crying.
And after when you found Reva, when you've now hit the door with a cricket bat, you found Reva, did you scream then?
No, my lady.
Why not? Because now you see her. Now it's the opportunity for you to scream, Reva, Reva, are you fine? Why would you not scream then?
My lady, I don't understand that question.
You've now seen that she's in there. It's the first time that you know that she's in the toilet, am I right?
That's correct.
Why did you not scream then?
I don't know what the purpose would be of screaming, my lady. I was
What would the
overcome
purpose-
with sadness and I was crying.
What would the purpose of screaming have been when you hit down the door?
I was in panic, my lady.
But now you see her, now she's wounded. Aren't you now in even greater panic?
No, I'm not. I'm now broken, my lady. I'm crying.
You see, now you know that the state witnesses said that after the shots there were no screaming, and that's why you now don't want to scream. Isn't that so?
That's not true, my lady.
Because you see, I find it strange, sir. You've now seen her for the first time, that your panic would not have been at its greatest when you saw her through the broken door.
My lady, there was the state of panic is not knowing. When I saw Reva there, I was broken. I was overcome by just sadness.
No, you see that?
So I wouldn't have screamed out.
Up until that time when you broke it down, you would not have thought that you shot her.
That's not what I said, my lady.
You hope you didn't.
Yes, I hoped I didn't.
But when you saw it, Mr. Pistorius, that must have been an unbelievable shock.
That's correct.
And you never screamed and shouted out.
That's correct, my
You're
lady.
running up and down screaming, but not when you saw it.
That's correct, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, I would have expected you to then scream at Reva. Talk to her. Did you?
Yes, I talked to her. I was crying. I was talking to her all the time. I was saying, baby, please hold on. Jesus, please help me. I was praying for her.
Now you phoned 082-911. What happened then?
I don't remember calling Mr. Baba, my lady, but from the phone records, I made a call to them. The only inference I can make from that is that I phoned them to help me carry her Reva because I wasn't able to pick her up off the floor.
But that's an inference you make. You have no recollection.
No, I have no recollection of that.
But he phoned you.
He phoned me back, that's right, my lady.
And what happened then?
I don't remember that either, my lady.
If his version is that you said everything is okay,
That doesn't make sense, my lady.
except if you didn't want the security there.
Then I wouldn't have phoned them in the first place, my lady.
But you never spoke to them. Wasn't that just a call by mistake?
My lady, as Mr. Nall said, I would have had to phone Johan Stander and find his number. In the same manner, I would have had to phone the security's number.
But now they're
Which
talking to you. You're now talking to you. And you spoke to them.
I don't remember that, my lady. But I don't understand.
According to him, you knew who you were talking to. He asked you a question and you replied to the question. Why can't you remember that?
Because I don't remember speaking to Mr. Baba, my lady. On the phone records, I saw I phoned him first. If I'd phoned him first to ask him for help and he phoned me back, I don't know why I'd then tell him that everything's fine.
Except that you didn't want him then.
I don't remember speaking to Mr. Baba, my lady, and I obviously phoned him because I did want help.
Now, obviously you phoned him before you picked Reva up.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, so after you spoke to him, what happened?
I then managed to pick Reva up and I walked with her to the bottom of the staircase, my lady.
And then?
And then I was met by Mr. Stander and Miss Stander. I told them to help me get Reva into the car. And then they told me to put her down, that the ambulance was on the way. And I argued with them and I said to them, please just help me get her to the hospital. And they said, Ozzy, just put her down. So I placed her down.
Now, then Dr. Stipp arrived and the paramedics arrived. I don't think that is of such importance, so we won't deal with that in detail. But you also phoned Mr. Devares.
That's correct, my lady. I'm not sure if I spoke to him or if somebody phoned him, but that was just, I think from the phone records, I remember around 4 o'clock when I was in the kitchen.
Now, and you used your phone.
That's correct, my lady.
How did your phone get there?
I had my phone in my pocket, my lady, when I left the bathroom. I had 2 phones which I collected next to the bed.
So you took your phone downstairs with you?
That's correct.
Why would you do that? Why would you not drop it and pick Riva up?
Because I'd need to communicate if I needed to communicate, or if the ambulance needed to phone me back.
So you thought about that and you kept your phone with you?
At the time, my lady, I made the phone call, and before I picked Riva up, I put the phone in my pocket.
Who put it on a charger?
I don't know, my lady.
If Carice would say it was on a charger in the kitchen when she spoke to it, how would that have happened?
I'm not sure, my lady.
It wasn't you?
I'm not sure, my lady. There was a charger in my kitchen. I'm not sure if I plugged it in or who plugged it in, or if it was plugged in.
You see, Mr. Pistorius, today's cross-examination deals with aspects that that in fact happened. You did break down the door. You did carry it down. So I'm just looking at different things as far as the version is concerned. As far as your version is concerned, that you broke down the door, that you picked it up and carried it down, is not in dispute. And that is why there is very little improbability, because that in fact happened. As far as this is concerned, it happened. Up until the shots, that's why you struggle with your version, because that's a version you had to that did not happen, and you had to develop. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what Mr. Snell's saying, but I don't agree, my lady.
I have to just challenge you on something. My lady, may I just page through this? I'm looking for a photograph. But lady, may I just have a moment? Somebody wrote me a note, and I'll just try and understand what's in the note. But lady, may I confer with the people behind you?
Yes.
Mr. Pistorius, I'll deal with something, and I think if you call your experts, we'll deal with them in more detail about it. If you look at photograph 119, can you see the left leg of that magazine rack's in a pool of blood.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, that magazine rack never moved from where it's there. It didn't go backwards.
That's correct, my lady.
And it's small detail, but if one look at the photograph, it never moved into the blood as well.
That's correct, my lady.
Yes. So if you just look at the photograph, it doesn't look like that magazine rack's moved.
It looks like it was picked up, my lady, and placed there. The magazine rack didn't have any blood on it, my lady, so it would have been placed there.
So somebody must have picked it up and put it into the blood at that specific spot.
At that time, my lady.
But the book rack has blood on it. You just can't see it. But isn't it also part of your case that it's got blood on it?
I'm not sure, my lady. From here, I can't see any blood on the book rack, my lady.
We will deal with that in cross-examination of your expert. You see, I agree with you that if you look at the photograph, it doesn't look as if it moved.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, Malay, I'm getting lots of messages from behind, and I think it's important. And it will be very difficult for me to just confirm and carry on. Before I move away from here, may I ask the court's indulgence for a 5-minute to 10-minute adjournment so that I just get this? I struggle to get it and continue.
25 or 10, which is which?
5.
Court will adjourn.